First and foremost, Kalalal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, the leaders of Israel, who guide us through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Salutations also to the hopeful elect who are sincerely doing the work of the Lord, building the house of David by Dawada. This lesson is going to be focused on the fact that truth and salvation itself is only for few, right? Which is contrary to what the mainstream media teaches, what Christianity teaches, what even other religions such as Islam teaches, that anybody can be saved and that number, is a great number, right? But the scripture proves otherwise. The scripture says otherwise, that salvation is only for the few, and specifically for the few of Israel, right? So let's get right into it, right, and see what the scripture has to say about this topic. This is 2 Ezra chapter 8 and verse 1 from the Apocrypha. And he answered me, saying, the Most High had made this world for many, but the world to come for few. What's the world to come? That's talking about the kingdom of Israel, right? When the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. Matter of fact, let's just bring out that scripture since it's, it came to mind, let the scripture, the spirit, go. Scripture said, quench not the spirit. All right, this is Daniel chapter 7 and verse 18. Right, it says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever. Right, who are the saints of the Most High? Right, the saints of the Most High are the elect of Israel. Right, they are the ones that are going to take the kingdom, right, and rule upon the earth. Right, so let's get back to the scripture, right, that we had first. All right, 2 Ezra chapter 8. All right, it says, and he answered me, saying, the Most High hath made this world for many, but the world to come for few. So the world in which the Israelites will be king, in which the saints will take the kingdom and reign forever, that world is for few. I will tell thee a similitude, Esdras, and as when thou askest the earth, it shall say unto thee, that it giveth much mold whereof earthen vessels are made, but little dust that gold cometh of. Even so is the course of this present world. Exactly. So the Most High likens, this angel is likening the entire world, the seed of man specifically and the seed of the wicked, as earthen vessels, right? Just clay. But there are only few, right, in the earth crust, right? The majority is what? Is worthless earth and clay and all that good stuff, right? But the metals which are precious, like gold and silver, right? Those are very few in the earth, right? So it's explaining that this entire world is made up of basically worthless people that just fill it up, right? As the next scripture is gonna say, right? People that are just made to be taken and destroyed, But little dust that gold cometh off. So is the course of this world. There be many created, but few shall be saved, right? So that goes completely contrary to what Christians believe, right? There be many created, but few shall be saved. And the Lord is showing you here, this angel, is showing you that not everybody is on the same level. Not every human being, as they like to say, is created equal. The scripture is telling you plainly, that some of them are just earthen vessels, and others, which are very few and very precious, are gold, right? Let's continue down. So this is 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 15. I have said before, and now do speak, and will speak it also hereafter, that there be many more of them which perish than of them which shall be saved. Like as a wave is greater than a drop, right? And that's very clear, It's very clear. This is verse 21. It says, and I saw it. Let me start verse 20. So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that were come into it. And what's those devices? Those devices are homosexuality, transsexuality, bestiality, this transgender madness, the wars that the so-called white man is bringing upon the earth, and the lies, the hypocrisy, the diseases, the food, everything that just, the world is in peril basically. What is that, like as the scripture says, behold, there was peril. It says, and I saw it and spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster and a plant of a great people. What's that talking about? That's talking about first and foremost Israel, right? And the grape of the cluster of Israel is the elect, right? Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect. Right? So you see how selective the Most High is? The Most High is a separatist. Right? He's only for his elect. He says, let the multitude perish then, let the majority perish then, the great multitude, let them perish that was born in vain. Right? So according to this scripture, according to the Most High, the multitude of people, the majority of people were born in vain, and only his grape is perfect, and that is what shall be saved. Right? Let's continue with the next scripture. Right? This is Matthew 7 and verse. Let me start at verse 13. It says, "Enter ye and in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat." Right? The majority of the world is walking after their own lust, walking after, especially now in this season. This season is carnival season in the islands of the Caribbean, So right toward social media and on the streets, when you go, you see posters putting up advertising Bacchanal, advertising Carnival marches, advertising Juve. So that's the spirit that our people are in right now. That spirit of merriment, right? And it's no coincidence that when these people are in their spirit of merriment and revelry, right, and debauchery, that is the same time that the Passover comes around, right? That we, the men of the Most High, are in an opposite spirit from the world. We are in a spirit of gravity, right, and of sobriety, right, coming into the Passover, right? Men like Nate and the IUIC, they are also in the spirit of merriment, because their Passover is a big party, So they are in sync with the spirit of the world, right? When the scripture tells us, that we should be separate from the world, right? That's your religion, to keep yourself unspotted from the world. That's our religion, That's what we were called to do. We were called to be separate, from the world. So if the world is in the spirit of merriment and revelry and debauchery, we should be opposite. We should always be opposite, Right? So many there be that's going to be destroyed, because many there be that walk after their own lust and walk after the spirit of this world and the spirit of the devil, Right? Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Right? So when you look up that word narrow, right, it tells you specifically, how that gate is. Right? It says, let me play the Greek word.
Strong's G 2346.
Thlebo, right? It says to press as grapes, to press hard, a compressed way, right? Compressed meaning you make smaller by force. Narrow, straightened, contracted, a metaphor to trouble, affliction, and distress, right? So the men of the Most High, the elect few, right, who find the way that leadeth unto life will achieve that, right, by going through difficulties, by going through hardships, trials, tribulations that test your character and make you into a perfect person. The scripture that we read before said that the Most High, through much labor, made his grape perfect, Right? Let's continue to the next scripture. All right, this is 1 Peter 4 and verse 17. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And if it first begin at us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh? And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the sinner and ungodly appear? So you have a lot of men who are so-called in this truth, who are not genuine, and the Lord won't save them, So if you have men who believe the scripture, who are out there on the byway, on the highways and the byways, teaching the truth, doing the honorable work of the Lord, if they will scarcely be saved, where shall the revelers and the revilers and the debauchers appear, Where shall they appear? And this is the word for scarcely.
Strong's G 3433.
Malis, and it says with difficulty, hardly, not easily, i.e. scarcely or very rarely, right? So with difficulty and very scarcely, very rarely, will the elect be saved, right? This truth and salvation, as the title of the lesson is only for the few, and that few will only obtain it through hardship, yo. That matter of fact, let's get to Second Ezra, 7, where it talks about that, right? This is 2 Ezra chapter 7, and I'll read from verse 1. And when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me the angel which had been sent unto me the nights afore. And he said unto me, Up, Esdras, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my power. And he said unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put to case the entrance were narrow, right, like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come unto the broad? There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is good of all things, and is full of all good things, which is the kingdom. Right? The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there was a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. If the city were now given unto a man for an inheritance, which is given unto Israel for an inheritance, if he shall never pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? And I said, It is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, Even so is Israel's portion, because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are few and evil, full of perils and very painful. Verse 14. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. Right? So if you don't suffer and go through the narrow, right? If you're not a part, first of all, if you're not a part of that elected few, and if you don't suffer and go through the narrow, you will never get the reward, yo. This is where is it again now? It's another scripture. This is Ecclesiasticus from the Apocrypha, chapter 6, verse 22. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not made manifest unto many. Right? And in order for you to be delivered, right, you must what? You must have wisdom. But the scripture here says, wisdom is according to her name, and she is not made manifest unto many. So not many people, will know what wisdom is. She won't reveal herself, to everyone, only to a select few whom the Lord put the Spirit